Hey, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. My name's Nicole Abreu, aka Nikki. Recently, my family and I made a big move to Dominican Republic after about a year and a half of planning. So today I wanted to go over everything we did in order to prepare for the move. From doctor visits, budgeting, downsizing, and even shipping our car. So if moving abroad has been on your mind or you want to get more of an idea, this video will give you a checklist and also some insider tips that you definitely don't want to miss. One of the first things we tackled in order to get ready was our health. So we did doctor visits, dentists, and even made sure that our vaccinations were up to date. The reason why I believe that was so important is because healthcare access can vary here, and it's always best to arrive knowing that you and your family are covered. I would highly recommend making that a priority and also speaking to your doctor about any long-term prescriptions that you might have and seeing how you're able to bring a supply with you while you transition into the Dominican healthcare system. I received questions about what healthcare provider we ended up choosing, and after doing some research, we went with Universal. Some other options would be Humano and Senasa. Senasa I've heard is really good if you're employed here in Dominican Republic, but if you're not, it might not be the best. I do know the best options would be Universal and Humano. They all have their websites and customer service, so I highly recommend doing your research before you choose one. Now, something that we did learn is that we probably should have gotten the insurance before we even moved, or we should have made it a priority to get right when we arrived. Something else I believe is very important for me to share is that we took a couple of trips to Dominican Republic before the move in order to tour apartments and to tour schools for our son. It's very important to see the places in person, get a feel for the neighborhood, the commute, and things like water pressure, natural lighting, and also the amount of space. It's the same thing for the schools. We wanted to meet the teachers, see the environments, and just make sure it was the right place for our child and for our family. The trips we took were very necessary because it gave us a peace of mind and also made the transition so much smoother, given the fact that we already knew exactly what we were getting ourselves into. So that made it so much easier, and I highly recommend, if you're able to do the same, to do it. Next up is paperwork. I got my cedula, which is basically your Dominican ID. This is very important, especially if you're planning on staying here long term, because it allows you to open up bank accounts, sign rental agreements, and it's necessary for almost everything. Depending on your status, you might need an attorney to guide you through residency paperwork, but this takes time, so I would highly recommend starting as early as possible. One of the most important steps was trying to figure out our budget. We sat down and tried to find out our monthly expenses. Housing, utilities, groceries, transportation, internet, and especially the unexpected expenses. Living here can be a lot more affordable, but it really does depend on your lifestyle. For example, if you're only buying imported products, or if you're shopping at the local market, if your kids are in private school or in public school, all of these things make a big difference. I would recommend overestimating your expenses instead of underestimating them. That way you're not caught off guard. Another big part of our prep was sending our car over. We actually shipped it back in April, and that was a couple of months before the big move. Now, this is super important if you're planning on doing the same. The car that you're sending must be 5 years old or newer, and it has to be completely paid off. The shipping process can be very stressful, but it can be worth it because if you're planning on buying a car here on the island, be expected to pay way more than its value. And a quick tip, make sure to factor in custom fees and also go with a shipping agent who knows all the rules. Now, downsizing and shipping. Part of the planning was also downsizing our life back home. We went through every closet and every drawer and decided what was really worth bringing. We ended up donating a lot of our things, and big stuff like furniture and also things that were in very good condition, we just ended up selling. For the things that we did end up bringing, we packed boxes and sent them ahead of time. This is a process, so I would say to organize, label, and try to keep inventory of everything you sent. That way you don't lose something. Shipping and delivery takes weeks, so planning ahead of time is key. To be honest, one of the most difficult things for me was downsizing and getting rid of so many things that, held some type of sentimental value. But I came to the conclusion that it felt so much lighter with the whole move, just getting rid of things that I haven't used in a while or that honestly didn't serve a purpose anymore. So just keep that in mind when you're moving. Try downsizing, try donating, try selling as many things as you possibly can. That way the move can just feel so much lighter and you can kind of feel like you have a fresh start. And here's the thing, this wasn't an overnight decision. We ended up taking about a year and a half of planning and organizing before we packed up our lives and moved. Between saving, paperwork, logistics, and just mentally preparing for the move, giving ourselves that time really made the process just a little bit less overwhelming. Before I wrap this up, I want to give you a couple more tips that you won't want to skip. The first tip has to do with banking. So the best thing you can do is have access to a bank account in your home country and also one in Dominican Republic, just because bank transfers can get a little tricky. The second tip has to do with cell phone service. You should probably unlock your phone before moving. That way it could be easier for you to go ahead and switch over to a local provider. The next tip has to do with documents. It's important to have multiple certified copies of your birth certificates, marriage licenses, and even school records for your kids. And the last tip is networking. You can join online expat groups before you move. You would get so much real-time advice and support. If you're planning to move abroad or just dreaming about it, I really hope this breakdown helps you feel more prepared and inspired. If you found this valuable or helpful in any way, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'll be sharing more of our journey here in Dominican Republic, so make sure to keep following along, and I'll see you in the next one.